All right. Hey, what's going on, Matt Micucci?
Hi, everybody. Hey, Brian, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Then that's right. If you hear my voice, Brian Zimmerman, executive editor of Jazziz magazine, if you hear Matt Micucci's voice, online editor of Jazziz magazine, that can only mean one thing: that it's time for crate digging. One of our favorite episodes of the week. This is where we share albums from our digital crates, so to speak, on a given theme. And Matt, this week's theme could only be holiday albums.
That's right.
It is that time of year. Everyone's got holiday music spinning throughout the house. I used to have a saying that, it's not holiday time until you hear that classic Vince Goraldi Christmas music. Nothing swings in the holiday season quite like holiday jazz. So we'll be sharing some of our favorite holiday albums here on this show. But we've also got a bunch of holiday stuff up on our website, jazziz.com, including a classic instrumental jazz holiday playlist. Features some holiday cuts from probably some you haven't heard before, from Charlie Parker and Chet Baker and Dexter Gordon, and of course your favorites from Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong. And so head on over to jazziz.com to check out that holiday playlist. And of course, you've got that last minute gift to buy for that jazz lover in your life. Digital subscription to Jazziz magazine makes a perfect gift. You can buy one now. Just 3 months. 3-month trial for 99 cents per month. Again, all kinds of content, videos, playlists, articles, interviews. We're down to the wire here. You've got that jazz lover in your life. A digital subscription to Jazziz magazine makes the perfect gift. But that said, let's go ahead and launch into today's episode of Crate Digging. And like we say, this is the idea behind Crate Digging is, look, we love playlist algorithms as much as the next person, but there's nothing like sharing albums person to person, no computers involved. Remember back in the day, you'd be in the record store, just kind of thumbing through the crates and, we got to check out this one, you got to check out that one. So that's what we're doing on this show. We have picked some of our favorite holiday albums, and we invite you to do the same. If you're watching right now, feel free to drop us a line in the comments. Let us know your favorite holiday jazz album or favorite holiday album, period, because like I said, this time of the year, we're listening to a ton of holiday music. People are already starting to chime in the comments section. And by the way, that's the best thing you can do to help us spread the word of these podcasts is comment away. Let us know what your favorite albums are. And yeah, we love hearing from you. All right, Matt, that said, what do you say we go ahead and jump into our crate digging list here? We have picked out our favorite holiday albums. Which one are you going to start with?
All right, I'm going to start off with one of my all-time faves, Duke Ellington, taking on the Nutcracker Suite. Okay, I love the Nutcracker Suite, so Duke Ellington, his interpretation of it was always going to be a part of this list because, after his orchestra's sensational success at the Newport Jazz Festival in 1956, he and Strayhorn, his longtime collaborator, Billy Strayhorn, continued to elevate the cultural status of jazz with a formidable series of varied and ambitious projects, including the mostly overlooked series of variations on symphonic works, the first of which came in 1960, and it was their swinging version of Tchaikovsky's The Nutcracker Suite. And the Nutcracker, of course, has become a seasonal staple. And naturally, that's because the fable that the ballet is based on is set on Christmas Eve, when a young girl named Clara is whisked off by a magician on a magical adventure with her favorite toy. That happens to be a nutcracker. But as far as this album is concerned, again, I feel sadly overlooked, but that may also be because of just the volume and the quality of the work that Duke Ellington and his orchestra were putting out at this time. But it is positively swinging and glowing. With the elegance, musicianship, creativity, and good humor too that Ellington was known for, and that definitely we need in our lives right now this holiday season.
Yeah, very cool. Great pick, Matt. Love the music of the Nutcracker Suite. Love Duke Ellington's interpretation of it, obviously. The Miami City Ballet, down here where I'm based in Miami, has for years put on a production of the Nutcracker Suite. Things were a little different this year, obviously, with the COVID-19 restrictions. So you know what they did, Matt?
What they do?
They moved it outside, which we can do here in Miami in December.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly. So yeah, Christmas tradition, and great pick, Matt. All right, I stated it earlier that for me, it is not the holiday season until I hear Vince Goraldi, tickling the ivory. So my first pick has to be the foundation here. Charlie Brown Christmas by the Vince Goraldi Trio. This is from the soundtrack, obviously, to Charlie Brown Christmas from 1965. And God, I mean, each one of these tracks is just a holiday classic. You hear them on the radio, from O Tannenbaum, to the Linus and Lucy theme. Christmas time is here. This is just beautiful music, Matt. I have friends who listen to this year round. I get it. Vince Goraldi's touch is timeless. He's a master of saying more with less, of simplicity, of touch and feel. I have a book of Vince Goraldi transcriptions, and a lot of these Christmas tunes are in them. They look deceptively simple. But for Vince, it's all about that touch. It was so light. It was so swinging. For me, nobody plays quite like Vince Goraldi. The recording sessions, the story behind the recording session of this album is pretty interesting. Vince was tapped to compose music for a Charlie Brown documentary. That was his first involvement with this, Charlie Brown franchise, and then was later called on to do the music for Christmas and a bunch of the other holiday specials. They recorded this one in like so much great American Christmas music. They recorded this in California, probably sometime over the summer. And because there were children on this recording session, unfortunately, a lot of these sessions ran late into the night, way past midnight, and the kids had to be up, with these jazz musicians recording these tunes. But apparently they made it better. They smoothed things out by offering the kids all the ice cream they could eat after each day of recording was done. So this is absolutely my favorite Christmas album. And Lavinia's too. She said, me too, Brian. Vince Goraldi Christmas album is a must. I listen to this album every year. You're not alone, Lavinia. Like I say, I have friends, and I'm sure they don't mind me saying it, that listen to it every morning just to get going. Cool. So that's number one on my list. And like I say, please let us know what is on your list in the comments section. What holiday jazz albums or not jazz albums are you listening to this time of year? Because I love them all. I love Christmas music. I will admit it. It is a guilty pleasure. And, and I'm Team Hanukkah too. I'm a Hanukkah guy, but I love me some Christmas music. All the classic stuff, the Bing Crosby stuff, and even the Donny Hathaway stuff and the Stevie Wonder stuff, and I like it all, man. It's constantly going in my house.
Hey, I believe Aaron Berlin was also a Hanukkah guy, and he wrote some of the greatest Christmas classics.
Mel Torme, yes, they penned a lot of them.
Anyway, I gotta say, I totally agree with you that Vince Goraldi album is one of those albums that you just listen to the whole year round. Doesn't really matter. For me, there's two albums that do that for me that are classified as Christmas album. That one, and one that isn't jazz related, but the Phil Spector Christmas album. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Darlene Love, and
that's a great one. Anyways, carrying on because we gotta keep it tight. All right, so my second pick is Dave Brubeck, a Dave Brubeck Christmas. Okay, I'm going to try to keep it tight because there's so much that I'd love to say about this album. I'm fascinated. Okay, it's the month of Dave Brubeck's centennial. And over the past few videos, we've talked about some of his releases. We saw how inventive he could be when reinterpreting Disney works, for example. And we recently have rediscovered his solo piano work with Lullabies, which was recently released. So this album from 1996 is actually a bit of both, because here Brubeck takes Christmas classics and wintry songs and plays around with them on his own with a piano. The result is this wonderful showcase of his distinctive piano playing, ranging from the introspective to the virtuosic. But I wanted to also say that Brubeck was really a pioneer of full-length solo piano albums, because he was one of the first major jazz artists to release albums such as these, and they became quite popular. And in this sense, he actually also influenced many generations, future generations of pianists who would record their own solo piano recordings, including the great Keith Jarrett, who has actually stated that Dave Brubeck was an influence of his in this sense. But just getting back to the album. I feel it's particularly apt for Christmas 2020, which I know is going to be a rough one for many people. And you can just put it on. You can, it can chill. You can chill out to it. You can let it soothe you in the middle of the night. That's the time when anxiety tends to strike the most. A lot of people are going to be having, a difficult time this year, but this is really the album for you. And by the way, this album was released in 1996, and that also happens to have been the year when Brubeck was awarded with a Grammy for Lifetime Achievement Award. So an important year for him in that regard too.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, good album to kind of keep you cozy through the night. Another album that does that for me is that George. It's not jazz per se, but that George Winston album, December, the all instrumental kind of hymns and Christmas music. That was a very mellow album too. Again, put you at ease on these anxiety-ridden December nights for what will be a holiday season 2020. All right, Matt, I'm going out on a major limb for my next album. And I'm going to pick an album. This is a holiday album, kind of the way Die Hard is a holiday movie, in that it takes place. It takes place over Christmas, sort of. And then so we kind of lumped it endearingly into this holiday movie canon. So check this out. My album is Dexter Gordon's Homecoming, live at the Village Vanguard. Okay, this is a super important album, obviously, because it was recorded live at the Village Vanguard in 1976, not long after Dexter Gordon returned to the United States from his long kind of residency in Europe. And it was recorded on December 11th and December 12th. And for me, maybe this is a personal thing, but this feels like a holiday album. I have a tradition of listening to it every year, this time of year. And it's got some amazing tracks on it. Gingerbread Boy, Little Red's Fantasy, Around Midnight, Backstairs, which is an original, and an absolutely smoking band with Dexter Gordon on tenor saxophone, obviously, Woody Shaw on trumpet, Ronnie Matthews on piano, Stafford James on bass, and Lewis Hayes on drums. And so, yeah, I know what you're thinking. This is not your typical holiday album, but it was recorded smack in New York City in the middle of a holiday season as Dexter Gordon was coming home from Europe. It's all about coming home. This to me is like the Die Hard of jazz albums. It takes place during the holidays. I'm going to count it, Matt, and I don't care what you say. And as a bonus, Dexter Gordon had a habit of recording. This is awesome. Holiday tunes, Christmas songs on live gigs, like in the middle of the summer. There's one album, Gotham City, where he has a beautiful rendition of, I think it's Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. He did a lot. The Christmas song, just in July, in August, he'd pull out a Christmas song on the call sheet and they'd play it. And of course it'd be beautiful. So yeah, I think Dexter Gordon, I think Christmas, and this album live at the Village Vanguard in what can I only imagine was a snowy New York City in 1970. Come on, for me, that's a holiday album. I listen to this album every year this time of year. So I warned you I was going out on a limb, man, but Homecoming, Dexter Gordon live at the Village Vanguard.
I like that you picked that album. It's a poetic choice of song.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, very good. Very good. Okay. Well, I'm going to take us back to the full-on Christmas album with a recent release for my third and final pick, and I'm going to be talking about Warren Wolfe, Christmas Vibes. All right. Anybody who is enamored with the sound of the vibraphone is familiar with the name of Warren Wolfe, one of the greatest interpreters of the instrument today. On Christmas Vibes, he applies his craft and talents to a number of Christmas songs and even contributes an original of his own to the Christmas canon. Okay, so I love what he does with such familiar standards as Winter Wonderland or the delightful and fun version of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, which is a song that I'd completely forgotten about, but it kind of sort of came back to me. And it's such a fun version too. But I especially like the versions where his vibraphone is like front and center because he's so great at what he does. He also plays piano in this album, by the way, I should say that. But there are a couple of vocal tracks in there as well, including You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, as I mentioned. And, I also feel like if you're not a fan of Christmas music, and some people are out there that just don't like Christmas music, and But you'll definitely enjoy this album, I feel. I mean, you'll definitely enjoy this album's groove and swing. There's really something for everybody here, I feel. And as far as this year's festive releases are concerned, I think this may be my favorite, and it's definitely the one that I've listened to the most.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, this was a great album. I remember when it came out. I think it was, again, back in August or September. And, as jazz critics, we get this holiday music very, very early with huge lead time. So, but hey, again, I don't mind spinning Christmas music in August. It's, any time of year is fine with me. Matt, before we get into my final album, I think we should mention some honorable mentions here, including, because you can't talk holiday jazz without talking about Louis Armstrong, who throughout his career has put out some phenomenal Christmas music, including the classics, Is That You, Santa Claus, Christmas Time in New Orleans. Again, I mean, he was kind of the original Christmas jazz crossover artist. Like I say, we've included plenty of those songs in our holiday playlist on jazziz.com. But there are a bunch more. Ella Fitzgerald.
Swinging Christmas, yeah. Yep. She only recorded 2 full-length albums of Christmas music in her career, which is kind of strange, but they were just so quintessential. Especially her Swinging Christmas album is a phenomenal one. Yeah, I think we both kind of just tried to stay away from those ones because we know that they're going to be playing on radios everywhere.
Yes, but absolutely worth mentioning. Green Sleeves, John Coltrane, My Favorite Things, John Coltrane. As I mentioned, the Chet Baker Quartet has this awesome rendition of Winter Wonderland. So many. And like I said,
Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, Frank, can't leave out Frank Sinatra. Even Charlie Parker. There's a rare recording of Charlie Parker from a radio show playing White Christmas. It is a rare treat. I said it's all in our classic jazz holiday playlist on jazziz.com. So be sure to check that out. I have another honorable mention. I hope you don't mind. This is this is a kind of a goofy one, but I'll count him as a jazz artist. That would be Tom Lehrer, vocalist, pianist, composer Tom Lehrer. He was kind of the original Weird Al Yankovic. Hugely inspired by the Great American Songbook, but would go on to write, satire parody songs. And his great contribution to the holiday canon was I'm Celebrating Hanukkah in Santa Monica, which was written in 1990 for an episode of Garrison Keillor's Prairie Home Companion, that radio show. And it has kind of gone on. It has a life now as our kind of up there with the Hanukkah song by Adam Sandler, our annual Hanukkah semi-jazz tune. But shout out to Tom Lehrer for penning I'm Celebrating Hanukkah in Santa Monica, which has been picked up by a few jazz vocalists throughout the years. You'll find it. You'll most certainly find it.
That's such a good title.
Yeah. All right, we're going to wrap up now. Again, we reserve our last spot for a more recent album, and mine is going to be the latest from Leslie Odom Jr. Now, if you're like me or billions of other people on this earth, you have probably seen or at least heard some of Hamilton. Of course, the Broadway sensation that is now on Disney Plus featured Leslie Odom Jr. in the original role of Aaron Burr. He's a phenomenal talent. Great vocalist and a great actor, but his roots are kind of in jazz and in soul and R&B. I spoke with him a few years ago when his previous Christmas album came back, and I mean, he has the chops. He has the jazz credentials. He has the jazz pedigree. His parents turned him on to, Frank and Nat King Cole and all the greats early on. And so, yeah, his albums are just, as you can imagine, wonderful displays of his vocal talent. This Christmas album, definitely a showcase for, his versatility. There are a bunch of great tunes on this one, including some you don't hear often. Number one, there's another Hanukkah tune on there, Ma Otsur. And then there's the great Bing Crosby tune, Mele Kalikimaka, the Christmas in Hawaii tune. Last Christmas, Little Drummer Boy. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. It is on the poppier side. Leslie definitely incorporates some R&B, definitely incorporates that soul sound, but what a great voice. I mean, this guy is just so talented. I love his range. I love his articulation, the way he interprets a lyric. This is a beautiful album, and it's one of those rare holiday albums that includes a New Year's song Auld Lang Syne. I always like that when you can get the complete holiday picture. So yeah, be on the lookout for this. The album's already out. You can stream it. Leslie is going to be playing, I believe, Sam Cooke in an upcoming movie called One Night in Miami, about the time Sam Cooke and Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali all spent a night in a hotel room down in Miami before a fight.
Oh, I know that one. It's a night in Miami.
Well, a night in Miami. Yeah. And I just expect to hear more from Leslie on the jazz front, because like I say, you heard him in Hamilton. You've seen him on screen. You know how promising a talent he is. And as a jazz musician, he stands up there with some of the best vocalists of the moment. So yeah, that wraps up my list, Matt.
Wow, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun.
It has. It's a shame we have to keep those to only 4 albums, because obviously, like we say, there's so much holiday jazz out there, and blues. There's a great, Eric Clapton blues album that came out a few years ago. So we hope we've introduced some new music to you that you can, add to your holiday playlist mix. And like I say, check out that playlist on jazziz.com featuring the Jazz Holiday Classics. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we're down to the wire here for Christmas gifts. With the post office, you don't know how long packages are going to take to arrive. One thing you can rely on is a digital subscription to Jazziz. It starts immediately. You can unlock unlimited access to all the content on our site right away. So you want to treat yourself to a digital subscription, or if there's a jazz lover in your life you need a last minute gift for, 99 cents per month for 3 months. After that, it's just $24.99 for the whole year. It's a bargain, and it's going to make the jazz loving friend in your life extremely happy. I guarantee it. All right, Matt, that'll do it for us. We're going to be off next week because that is Christmas Eve next Thursday. So wishing everybody out there a happy holiday. Enjoy the holidays. Enjoy listening to this great holiday music. And we'll see you for another episode of Crate Digging, I guess, New Year's Eve.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're doing New Year's Eve.
We're doing New Year's Eve. Maybe we'll do a fond look back at what a crazy year this was.
Okay. All right. Happy Christmas, everybody.
That's right.
Happy that day.
Happy that day. It is the final night of Hanukkah. So happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, everyone.
Have a good life.
Have a good life. At this point, yes. That's all we need.
Universal. Hopefully everything will be okay for everybody. What is it that little Tim said? What was it? God bless us all. That's right.
Right. I'm thinking of Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he definitely must have recorded a Christmas album in his career too.
Oh, absolutely. That we'll save it for another episode though.
Do a whole episode Crate Digging our favorite Tiny Tim albums.
I've got him. I love Tiny Tim. Yeah. All right, Matt. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Tune in for Miles Monday on Monday, and we'll see you for another episode of Crate Digging again after the holidays. So long, everyone. Have a great day.
Ciao.
Bye.